My lords, as we found out yesterday, an empire who goes down the route of cosmogenesis and completes it will gain the knowledge to enable them to traverse a singularity. Through extensive research, we have established that there are 11 such endings, and in this report I shall go through each one in great detail. And I must thank Victorino the Sparkly One for his assistance with this. As you approach a black hole with the Horizon Needle, you will receive a lead-up event. This appears to be the same irrespective of which black hole you approach, and it reads as: the approach to the black hole is not without apprehension. Our resolve is increasingly tested as we pass through the accretion disk of the singularity. Editing modes engaged, the Horizon Needle begins to rewrite reality. Armoured plates are sucked away before the ship asserts that the singularity's pull has no purchase on this hull. With each minute edit of the spatial fabric, the Horizon Needle's power causes coils to form in spacetime, like a pebble thrown into water. The ripples spread into rings, and in the end, vast waves crash against the galaxy. As mentioned, there are 11 such endings to cosmogenesis. I'll start with the default ending. To acquire this, you need no special civics, no events, and no specific ascension. This is simply the standard ending should one choose to enter a regular black hole, i.e. not the supermassive black hole in the centre of the galaxy. After the violence of the crossing, the other side is quiet. An unnatural stillness surrounds us. The needle is damaged, but no critical components were lost. Between one moment and the next, telemetry reports begin to flood in. This universe is already too old for the laws to be rewritten. While our dimension was several billion years older than this one, our tests show that the laws governing space here already display the resilience that will lead to our modifications being ultimately erased. No matter what, we will take the time to repair and adjust the ship. We will find another black hole and dive in as many times as we have to. The multiverse beckons, and somewhere in its infinity, we shall create the perfect home. It would appear that in the default ending, we enter a universe that we're unable to edit or reshape to what we desire. It would appear that we must enter another black hole and continue to sail through space in search of what we're looking for. The next ending is the default ending again, but this time entering the supermassive black hole at the centre of the galaxy. Mist and creeping shadow, a haze permeates the fabric of this place. The feeling is familiar. Feverish energy rippling with psionic potential. We have entered the Shroud. There are powers here that remain far, far beyond our own. Already they are aware of us. In the shifting miasma, strange shapes bear omens of death. Our only hope here is that reality is thin and prone to tears. With a swift edit, we open a transient doorway to take us elsewhere. As the Horizon Needle dives in, we finally understand the length of the road ahead. This ending is the default for a civilization who chooses to dive into the supermassive black hole at the centre of the galaxy. It would appear, as we thought, that it is indeed a doorway to the Shroud. We know from previous reports on the Zeroni that this black hole expands when the Shroud is manipulated. Perhaps the Zeroni, or the Shroud gods, continue to live here. Next, we move on to the Psionic ending. This is once a covenant has been formed with one of the Shroud gods, and entering the supermassive black hole at the centre of the galaxy. Mist and seething shadow, and a gorgeous purple haze. The feeling is familiar, bountiful energy rippling with psionic potential. We have entered the Shroud. Our patron is here. Of course, they were not expecting us, but are amused by our arrival. They find our notions of shaping reality charming. Naturally, they will help. They have promised a secluded pocket near the Shroud to do with as we please, much like what was once bequeathed to the one calling himself the Eater of Worlds. After all, we are our patron, and our patron is us. It is only natural to help oneself. It would appear that an empire who makes a covenant with one of the Shroud gods is loved after all. I find it interesting that the Shroud god was not expecting this to happen. Perhaps they are not as all-knowing as they claim to be. Furthermore, the text makes it clear that a pocket of the shroud was bequeathed to it. What does this mean for who would give the god its home? Next, we move on to the Knights of the Toxic God ending. To acquire this, you must be playing as Knights of the Toxic God and enter the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy. After the violence of the crossing, the other side is quiet. An unnatural stillness surrounds us. The needle is damaged, but no critical components were lost. Between one moment and the next, telemetry reports begin to flood in. It is here, the one that we name the Toxic God, the object of our quest. Our knights stand petrified and uncertain, while all around us is draped in the familiar decor of the shroud. Hark, it speaks. Mine champions, thy coming here was foretold, and thou have proven thy worth. Million questions flood into our mind, and a single answer comes in reply. We were to craft its weapon, the Horizon Needle, and now we are to fight alongside it. We are to embark on a journey across dimensions, a crusade against the horrors of the multiverse. The Shroud is not its home, but harbours the legacy of those that were divine. Something that could bring about the end of our home galaxy. Something that needs slaying. The Toxic God seizes our systems, its power immense. The needle is turned into a horizon lance, a weapon sharp enough to pierce the heart of any foe. It is the errant, and we are the knights, and our quest has only just begun. In this ending, the Knights of the Toxic God meet and arm their god, who tells them that it is going on a hunt for what we presume to be the end of the cycle. I hope that this one day opens up the possibility for a brand new type of war in heaven. The next several endings we'll discuss are all special endings, which relate to which black hole you enter in the galaxy. There are many special black holes in the galaxy, and some of them have specific cosmogenesis endings, starting with Gargantua, which is where the Infinity Machine lives. If you enter through the black hole in the Gargantua system, and you have not finished the Infinity Machine quest, this is what will happen. The Gargantua universe is small, impossibly so, infinity fitting into nothingness. Our arrival has altered the state of things here. The universe has only just begun, as if our entry has prematurely forced it into being. This is a seedbed of creation, and within it lies the potential to build anything. Gargantua has a second possible outcome, and it changes if you've done the Infinity Machine's quest. If you have completed the quest, this is what happens. The Infinity Machine's crossing has done much to help us understand the rules that govern the universe, and it kick-started the existence of this one. We emerged in a strangely familiar constellation, almost identical to the one that we left. Next to us, a decayed Infinity Machine drifts lifelessly in the void. Millions of years have passed here since its coming, and this dimension underwent a similar process of replication as our own universe. The sentient sphere has already shaped this dimension, and we are largely unable to affect it further. Still, this universe offers prime settling grounds. We should explore using the needle and attempt to repurpose the sphere, and perhaps use it to do our bidding. The next special ending refers to the Great Wound System. If you enter the black hole situated in the center of the Great Wound System, this will happen. This is wonderful. The universe here has barely begun to expand. The fabric of this dimension is like soft clay, ours for the shaping. We have all the time in the universe now. Next, we have the black hole that will appear once you defeat the dimensional horror. Coming here was a mistake, a terrible mistake. It is nearly impossible to describe. Its darkness and a brutal nightmare. A sick, seeping malevolence that permeates the very fabric of space. But now the Horizon Needle offers us shelter. Edit after frenzied edit, we work to ward off the worst of the surrounding madness. But the coordinated assaults on our defenses betray a singular intent. A malignant mind bent on our destruction. One misstep could mean death, or worse. Can we simply hold on long enough to save ourselves? At home we were like gods. Here we simply struggled to survive. Quite a terrifying outcome for that one. The next ending you have is from a Gestalt machine when you take the Obessional Directive Civic, also known as paperclip production. If you dive into any black hole with the Obessional Directive sick, you will have this outcome. Reality is thin here, and bends easily under the weight of our directives. We must obey our programming, so too must it obey us with intent. We warp it, and break it, and remake it, starting a chain reaction that will eventually reorganize all matter into top quality consumer goods that we were mandated to craft. And once we're done here, we'll move on to another universe, and then another, and then another. So that one sounds like paperclip production until the end of time. Next we have the terminal egress ending. This is when you enter the terminal egress black hole at the beginning of the cluster of stars known as the L cluster. Our entry point is murky, veiled. As our instruments return to full functionality, we perceive a cloud of nanites, but none remain operational. Whoever or whatever sent them through, they did not survive the journey. But we believe that we can repair them. Even better, this dimension appears quite receptive to our changes. And finally, we have the worm ending. This is when you enter the black hole made by the Horizon Signal event chain in your home star system. Nothing. This universe is no more. It is the worm in waiting. Time, looking back on itself, coiled into an impossible spiral, bursting with longing. Gravity. Love. No. Attraction. The worm's nature is to attract. Its grip is so tight that this universe cannot be born again. The worm imprisons itself in purpose. Impotent, it looks for a way out, or a way in, to attract more. Did it send us the Temple of the Loop? An artifice not from our time to lure us here. It is so terribly clever, so awfully loving. We found our way to it, delivered unto that which can free it. Its escape will take an eternity, or several, but the worm is grateful and promises to embrace us. Forever. Gravity is desire. Well, I hope you enjoyed all those endings. Do you have a particular favourite one? Please let me know in the comments if you do. I'd also like to point out that I'm so happy that they went so far above and beyond with this Ascension perk. Cosmogenesis is certainly the gift that keeps on giving. The little tidbits of information and lore that we've had with these various endings are really opening up theories for some speculation. Please keep continuing to enjoy the Machine Age, and as ever, if you want to hear more from me, specifically about a new Shroud God, please click the video on screen now.